God knew the only way to get your attention was to put you in a situation to where you feel broken, beaten down, and exhausted.
See, I don't prescribe to this at all. I don't prescribe this idea that God gives us these horrible circumstances or these horrible events to teach us something or draw us closer to God. Because in truth, a lot of people, when these things happen, will go away from God. They can't believe that we follow a God that would give kids cancer, that allowed the Holocaust to happen. That's usually the go-to for sure. And I understand people's perception. It's because of theologies like this that we've driven people away from a relationship with God. And I understand why that is. Because who wants to follow a God that does that to you? And then we use harmful things like, well, it's all part of God's plan. Like, I've had cancer twice personally. What, was that all part of God's plan? Well, you know, Chad, things happen for a reason. Really, Karen? What was the reason? What's the reason I had to have cancer? What lesson is God trying to teach me? What lesson does God teach a baby dying? What lessons being taught that the Holocaust happens? That's not part of God. To me, that is not part of God's plan. That is not a lesson he's trying to teach us. I view cancer as nothing more than just a mutation, right? It's just a broken world, and we get sick and we have disease, and this is what happens. When the Holocaust happens, when people don't recognize evil, don't recognize the harm that people are doing, and work together to stop it. No, we eventually did, and we were able to stop it. But we see this kind of evil even starting to flourish in today's time. What are we doing to stop it? We have all the resources, all the ability, everything we need to eradicate hunger, to make sure everybody's got clean water, to make sure everybody's got a home. But what spills into our lives? Well, greed and power and lust and all this spills into our lives and makes us conquer other people, to take from other people, to harm and hurt other people. That isn't part of God's plan or design. God gave us free will to choose to love God. But the flaw in God's design is that for us to have free will to love God, God also had to give us free will to not love God, to not follow what God would want from us. But now when these bad things happen, when these tough circumstances happen, now I can find a purpose for my pain. And hopefully that purpose follows what God would want. How can I love other people that may have and are experiencing something similar to me? How can I care for them, right? Because what we do with our pain is what's going to matter. That's what's going to determine whether we're heroes or villains. Most origin stories are the same. It's what we do with our pain that determines if we're going to be heroes or villain. Are we going to help or are we going to hurt? So if you go through a bad financial, you lose all your money and bad financial mistakes, you get an opportunity to grow from that and then also come back and give advice and help people later on. You can use that circumstance to help better other people. But you get the choice to do that. God is not making you do that, and that is not part of God's plan. So whatever you're going through, it is not part of God's plan, but God will send people to you to help provide comfort and knowledge through whatever you're going through. God is with us always.